If you grew up in America during the 1970s, you didn't need Wi-Fi, touchscreens, or $1,000 gadgets to have fun. Nope, all you needed was a toy box overflowing with plastic, imagination, and please don't break that, it was expensive, from your mother. The 70s were a magical time for being a kid. You rode your bike without a helmet, drank from the garden hose, and played outside until your parents yelled your name like they were calling cattle home. And inside the house, that's where the real treasures lived. Toys that squeaked, snapped, stretched, glowed, crashed, and somehow survived the chaos of childhood most of the time. Today, we're opening that toy box again and counting down the top 10 toys every American kid had in the 1970s. Toys that shaped our imagination, destroyed our patience, and filled our childhood with memories you just can't download. Let's take a trip back to a time when fun came in bright colors, batteries were optional, and screen time stair-walking greatness. And delivered, well, 2 steps. Every kid in the 70s owned one, and every kid shared the same heroic dream. This is it. My Slinky is going to walk down all the stairs in one perfect glide. Reality? Your Slinky made it down 1 step, maybe 2, then collapsed into a confused metal pretzel that looked like it needed a chiropractor. But did that stop you? Of course not. You picked it up, stretched it out, well, kind of straightened it, and tried again, like a tiny Olympic coach training a springy little athlete. And let's be honest, the sound was half the magic. That metallic shwick, shwick, shwick echoing through the house like a soothing ASMR track mixed with a suspicious kitchen appliance. The Slinky wasn't just a toy. It was a stress reliever, a fidget gadget, a makeshift slingshot, don't deny it, and occasionally a hair trap that turned family photos into rescue operations. But here's the secret. The Slinky was really patience training dressed up as fun. Because the moment, the rare, beautiful moment when it actually walked down a whole staircase, oh, man, you felt like you unlocked the mysteries of the universe, like you were the chosen child of physics. Remember that one toy from the 70s that looked like a pair of chunky plastic binoculars, but somehow transported you to places your family would never actually take you? Yep, the Viewmaster. You'd hold it up to your face like a secret spy gadget, aim it at the nearest lamp because that's how the pros did it, and suddenly, boom, your living room disappeared. Inside that little reel, whole worlds waiting for you. National parks you wouldn't visit till your 40s. Animals that looked way friendlier in plastic 3D. Disney scenes that felt more magical than anything on TV, which wasn't hard because your TV probably needed pliers to change the channel. And that click, oh, that satisfying chick, chick. It made you feel like a junior photographer on a mission. Of course, at least one slide was always upside down, or so dark it looked like Bigfoot's Instagram selfie. The reels themselves? They lived in a cookie tin your mom swore was organizing. Meanwhile, you were flipping through them like a travel agent with a 5-year-old attention span. But here's what made the Viewmaster special. It didn't need batteries, screens, or a complicated setup. It ran entirely on curiosity and a strong table lamp. And for a few magical minutes, you weren't just a kid in America. You were an explorer, a wildlife photographer, a world traveler without leaving the shag carpet. Before tablets, before drawing apps, before the blessed undo button saved humanity, There was a bright red box filled with mysterious silver dust that convinced every kid, yeah, I can definitely draw something amazing. Then you actually tried. You'd grab those two little knobs like you were operating heavy machinery, twist them with intense focus, and attempt the impossible, a circle. What came out? A shape that looked like a potato drawn during an earthquake. But you didn't give up. Nope. You kept turning those knobs like a tiny safecracker, thinking, if I just try harder. Meanwhile, the Etch-a-Sketch said, absolutely not. And the stakes were high. One bump from your sibling and poof, your masterpiece erased like it never existed. Instant heartbreak. There was no saving, no screenshot, just you, the silver screen, and that infamous shake. You shook that thing like you were mixing a cocktail in a hurry. But here's the magic. Every wipe gave you a clean slate, a fresh start, a chance to draw another wobbly square or crooked house. The Etch-a-Sketch didn't just test your artistic skills. It tested your patience, your determination, and how well you handled frustration at age 7. And for a generation of kids, it was the first lesson that sometimes life erases your work, but you just shake it off and start again. If you were a kid in the 70s, you didn't need a fancy bike. You just needed a giant plastic tricycle that sat so low to the ground, you practically needed a forklift to stand back up. Yes, the legendary big wheel. This wasn't just a ride. It was your first taste of freedom. You'd hop on, grip those wide handlebars, and suddenly the whole neighborhood became your personal racetrack. And the sound. Oh, that glorious rattling roar of the front wheel. It made you feel like you were hitting 80 miles per hour, even though your mom could casually walk beside you with a cup of coffee. But the real move? The brake spin. You'd yank that little handbrake like a stunt driver in a Hollywood chase scene, skid sideways across the pavement, then look around to see if anyone witnessed your greatness. If someone did see it, you were basically Evel Knievel for the rest of the afternoon. Now, big wheels weren't perfect, not even close. The seat could get so hot in summer, you risked branding your legs. The wheels flattened from too many drifts, and every kid ruined at least one pair of shoes trying to add extra foot power. But none of that mattered. Not one bit. Because on a big wheel, you weren't just riding around the block. You were tearing up the streets, conquering imaginary racetracks, and feeling like the coolest kid alive. It was pure childhood joy, served on 3 giant plastic wheels. Light Bright. Oh boy. The toy that made every kid feel like a miniature neon sign engineer. You'd open that box, dump out the pegs, and instantly hear that avalanche of plastic hitting the floor. Half the pegs vanished into the carpet forever. The carpet monster was always hungry. Then comes the best part. Pushing each peg into the screen with that satisfying little pop. You didn't know what ASMR was, but your brain whispered, yes, yes, more of that. Of course, you always started with the templates, like the clown or the butterfly, which looked perfect on the box, but when you did it, it looked like abstract modern art by someone who skipped lunch. But then the room goes dark, and suddenly your weird masterpiece looks like the Vegas Strip in miniature. You felt like a creative genius, even if no one else knew what the picture was supposed to be. Sure, there were some challenges. The bulb got so hot it could cook a grilled cheese. You never had enough red pegs. And stepping on one in the dark Congratulations, you unlocked maximum pain mode. Still, Light Bright wasn't just a toy. It was the moment every kid discovered that even a little plastic peg could make life a bit brighter. Ah, yes, the Rock'em Sock'em robots. The only place in the 70s where conflict was encouraged and nobody got grounded for throwing hands. Two plastic boxers, one red, one blue, facing off in the tiniest boxing ring ever built. And you were the proud, slightly aggressive little coach, mashing those buttons like your life depended on it. The goal was simple. Make the other robot's head pop up. That glorious pop. It was the 70s version of a jump scare, but somehow delightful. The fights were intense. You'd sit there slamming your fists, arms flailing like a caffeinated octopus, just trying to land the perfect uppercut. But let's be honest, every match lasted about 7 seconds because you and your friend were hitting the button so fast, the robots looked like they were in a blender. And when your robot finally won, when that head flew up like a toaster ejecting a Pop-Tart, oh, the victory. You felt like Muhammad Ali if Ali were made of plastic and had a squeaky neck joint. Of course, the game had its quirks. Sometimes the heads wouldn't reset. One robot always punched harder, and your sibling always claimed you were cheating, even though cheating on this game would require superpowers. But no matter what, Rock'em Sock'em robots delivered pure, chaotic joy. It was loud, it was intense, it was ridiculous, and it was absolutely perfect. There was one toy in the 70s that every kid treated like a full-blown physics experiment. And somehow, it never complained. You'd pull the arms, stretch the legs, twist the torso like you were trying to open a stubborn pickle jar, and this thing just kept going. Only after all that did you realize, oh right, that's exactly what it was made for. Stretch Armstrong. He wasn't your typical action figure. While other toys snapped in half after one good drop, this guy stretched across the entire living room like a muscular rubber band on a mission. Kids would play tug of war with him, walking in opposite directions as if trying to test the limits of science itself. And no matter how far you pulled, he'd snap right back, calm as ever. Sure, he had quirks. Twist him too much and he looked like he needed a spa day. Tear him and mysterious goo oozed out like alien jelly. And every parent yelled, "Stop stretching him!" Which you, of course, ignored. But that was the magic. He didn't need fancy powers, just superhuman stretchiness and the patience of a saint. For many kids, Stretch Armstrong was the first time they learned, yes, toys can be superheroes, and no, you probably shouldn't taste what's inside them. There was a toy in the 70s that made every kid feel like a frontier architect, even though half of us couldn't stack anything straight to save our lives. Enter Lincoln Logs, the wooden building set that somehow survived every generation, every move, every toy purge, because those pieces were practically indestructible. You dump out the container and instantly smelled that classic wooden aroma, the scent that whispered, "Time to build something you'll knock over in 5 minutes." The idea was simple. Notches plus logs equals cabin. Easy, right? Well, unless your hands shook like you just drank a gallon of Kool-Aid. Because the moment you got 3 layers high, The whole thing wobbled like a baby deer on ice. Still, when you finally built that perfect little cabin with the tiny green roof and pretend frontier doorway, you felt like you just constructed the Empire State Building. And let's be real, nobody ever followed the instructions. Every kid attempted at least one wild design: a mansion, a fort, a hybrid rocket cabin, whatever that was, or a pile of logs your parents politely called creative. But that was the charm. Lincoln logs were slow, simple, calming, the exact opposite of today's flashy, noisy, battery-eating toys. For a whole generation, Lincoln logs taught patience, balance, imagination, and how to rebuild a structure for the 10th time after your sibling accidentally kicked it. Picture this. You're a 70s kid facing a huge decision. Should I finish my homework or pretend I didn't hear my mom? Most kids thought it through, but not us. Nope, we trusted a plastic ball filled with mysterious blue liquid. Yes, the magic 8-ball, the original life coach. If your life coach only gave 8 answers and sometimes refused to participate. The real fun was the drama. You'd ask your question like it was life or death, shake the thing like you were trying to jumpstart a car, and wait for that little triangle to float up with its wisdom. Yes! No? And the always annoying, ask again later. Did we ask again later? Of course not. We asked again immediately. Simple, silly, and somehow magical. This toy made every tiny 1970s decision feel like a moment worthy of a drum roll. And there you have it, the toys that shaped childhood for an entire generation. Simple, loud, occasionally dangerous, but absolutely unforgettable. If this trip down memory lane made you smile, then stick around. We've got plenty more coming your way. And hey, if you want to keep reliving the best parts of growing up in America, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the American Time Mirror family. See you in the next rewind.